My name is Charles Thomas Willoughby, and I was born in Beckenham, Kent, Ravenscroft Road, and I lived about 20 years of my life in Beckenham working. I worked in London, and then of course, in my youth I was able to go to Switzerland, which was quite a big event in those days, and I was in the Boy Scouts. So the Boy Scouts used to go away every year for a camping, and 1936 we went to Switzerland, and that was really a big event because we went on the Simplon Orient Express from Paris. It leaves Paris every day at 7 p.m. and we travelled right the way through 3 countries, I think, and we went to a place called Kandersteg in Switzerland, and then the train carries on, I think it goes way down in southern Italy. That was quite an event because I was just 13 years of age then, just before the war. Of course then the war came and that changed everything in our lives. I tried to join the Air Force because in those days our heroes were the Spitfire pilots, and every boy wanted to be a Spitfire pilot, and I was no different. So anyway, I went along we went to Oxford to get the examination, but my mathematics wasn't good enough. So they said to me, perhaps you could join one of the other areas of the Air Force. They wanted bomber crews badly, and so I thought, oh well, I suppose I'll have to become a bomber crew. And they said to me, you go up the second flight of stairs, and on the door there is where they want gunners for the bombers, you know, machine gunners. Anyway, I was too tired to climb the 2 flights of stairs, which turned out to would have saved my life because we lost nearly 30,000 bomber crews, you know, in England. It was quite a disaster. So anyway, I decided that I would join the Marines. So I went and joined the Royal Marines. So I joined the Marines, and I spent about 4.5 years in the Marines. And of course, when I first joined up, I went down into Devon to the I just forget the name of the place now. Lympstone was the big barracks in those days, and of course we went through the training. Of course, I wondered what hit me when I joined the Marines because the training was quite intense, and coming from Civvy Street straight into training to be a Royal Marine. I think I was 18 when I joined up. So anyway, I done about 2 years training in artillery, in anti-tank, and we were all to be ready. We were attached to the Argyll and Southern Highlanders. We were there, and the Black Watch. We were their artillery support for anti-tank, and we done about 2 years training. But they just came to us one day and said, "You're disbanded." So they disbanded us. This is what they do in the Marines. They just take you out somewhere and rush you off to somewhere else. So they said that we want you for landing craft for the invasion, because the talk in those days was the second front, and they wanted us for the assault craft. And so we had to start training again for assault craft. And eventually, of course, D-Day came, and we went over on just before D-Day. Actually, we left the day before, and I was on an anti-aircraft ship called a LCF, and so anyway, we sailed off on the day before D-Day, and we just landed on D-Day. We just took the troops into the beaches, our job was to bring the assault craft, or take the assault craft into the beaches, and then we would turn around and come back, get the next wave. And so that's what we done that for about 3 weeks. Backwards and forwards. Of course, all this time you're under enemy fire. You're under. There were no aircraft, although our ship was primarily an anti-aircraft ship, but we only ever saw one aircraft. We used to feel sorry for the assault craft. We would take them to the beach, and then turn around, leave them there, and so really the job was quite easy. Really, we done that for about 3 weeks. But once we were tied up to HMS Belfast, which is a cruiser, a big cruiser, and I was aboard the Belfast. I was looking for library books. That's what I used to do. Was where all the ships in the Navy do that. If you meet another ship, you swap library books, you see, and this is what you do, you swap. So I was aboard the Belfast, and then we got a message that we've got to leave because the Belfast is under attack, and it was being attacked by a shore battery. And so we left and went back on our ship, and just as we got on our ship, a shell hit our ship and hit the bridge, and it killed our commander. We were a flotilla leader, so we had a commander on board, and our commander was badly wounded. He died eventually, and I think our captain, all those on the bridge were either killed or wounded. And the gun that I was supposed to be on, the man on that Golden crew was killed, wiped out. And so our ship just was going around in circles because the shell landed on the bridge, and also, of course, it wiped out the coxswain inside underneath the bridge. The way it's situated, the coxswain steered the ship, and we were just going round in circles until we got organised. And we have two Royal Marine officers on board. The one was killed instantly. The other one was blown off the bridge, and I picked him up. Actually, he fell down between the ventilator and the boat, and I picked him up. And anyway, we were so badly damaged that we had to go back to Portsmouth for repairs and that sort of thing. And so that was probably the highlight of the D-Day. And this happened. This would be about 3 weeks after D-Day. And then we went back to Portsmouth, and we got repaired, and we came back again to Normandy. And then we had a new captain, and he called us together and said that I've got a suicide mission for you guys. We're going to look for a gun that caused you damage before. And so that's what we did. We sailed down towards Le Havre. We knew where the gun position was roughly, and the idea, we had two battleships. The plan was to have two battleships, the HMS Warspite and HMS Roberts. The Roberts carried 16-inch guns. It was the Monitor, and the Warspite, I think, had 15-inch guns. The idea was the two warships were to stay over just beyond the horizon, so they couldn't be seen. And the idea was for our ship to go and find the gun and blaze away at the gun. And the idea was for them to open up and blow us out the water, which they could have done quite easily. And then the idea was for the battleships then to open up and wipe out the shore batteries. That was the plan, but the Germans, of course, were awake to all that sort of thing, and we had a great time blasting away at the saw batteries, going up and down. We were only about 100 yards off the shore, so. But anyway, we just fired away at them, and but they never opened up on us because the Germans are not stupid, and so. So that exercise didn't work, but eventually they sent the rocket-firing Typhoons went in, and then that wiped the guns out there. So apart from that, thing was then quiet because the troops were moving on then out of Normandy. It took us. It was about 4 weeks before we captured Caen. Because there was a panzer division near Caen, and though they captured everything else in Normandy, we had trouble with the Caen because of the panzer. But eventually, of course, the troops moved on, captured Caen, and then we went round. And then the next battle for us was a place called Wiskapelle, which was a sort of it was holding up everything. It was necessary to have a big battle there, and we did. And we went into Wiskapelle, or Walcheren as it was called, Walcheren, and the Royal Marine Commandos. I had a friend in the Royal Marine Commandos. Him and I were school friends for 4 years at school, and he was a sergeant in the Royal Marine Commandos, but he was actually killed at Walcheren. I didn't know that until some time after. But anyway, they captured Walcheren, and of course then the whole army moved on forward with the Americans, joined up with the Americans. Well, yes, when I look back on my life, I was quite a happy child, really. I had 2 brothers and 3 sisters, but my mother and father parted sometime when I was about 14. When I sort of just come back from that holiday in Switzerland, and my mother and father parted. So my mother went with the children, took the children, and I stayed with my father. Probably only because I had a job there in London, and I was working, although I was only 14 or 15. And so my mother took off, and she went to the Midlands of England and lived up there. And then, of course, the war came then, and I got a job as a fire watcher. Then I was then 16, and I got a job as a fire watcher in the City of London. This was before the Blitz started, of course, and then the Blitz started, and we went right through the Blitz.